Hey guys, how's everybody doing today? Today is January the 13th, 2024, and today I got a pretty good topic for you guys, but just wanted to start off the video by just saying that after I posted that video up last night, I said that I had some family coming to town. It's been pretty hectic around here, and I've been really busy. I haven't been able to reply to all the comments yet. I replied to a bunch yesterday after I posted the video up, and I got up this morning and tried to reply to a few, and I've just been really busy today. So I apologize to everybody that I haven't gotten back to your comments, but I will after I make this video. I'm gonna go inside and let this post, and then I'm gonna get on there and reply to everybody that took the time to post comments yesterday. Before I started this video today, I just quickly went through the comments, just browsed through them really fast, just to see what was relevant in there before I made the video. And I saw some comments. I haven't looked at them all. Just kind of just breezed through the ones I haven't responded to yet. And I saw a few comments in there where people were saying that that people with liver disease shouldn't be drinking and all this kind of stuff. And I just want to reply back with this. And I'm just going to tell you what my doctor told me. I was at my doctor's appointment one time at my GI. And he deals with a lot of patients that are in the same shoes as me. And we were talking about how, that I had quit drinking and had remained quitting drinking, because he was talking to me about that I probably needed to get involved in some sort of, like group to help me, to stay sober. And I was telling him, hey, I'm not looking back. That was it. I'm not going to, lose my life over this, and I'm not going to continue to add fuel to the fire. And my doctor looked at me and he said, I want to tell you something. He said, if that's the case, and you are you're an oddball. He said, because the majority of the people that I see in this office that come in here to talk with me about their problems, to have liver disease and all that stuff, he said they will lay on the table. I will do a full examination on them. We'll talk about their liver disease and all that stuff. And he said, and as soon as they leave this office, they will pull right into the gas station right down the road, and they will pick up a 12-pack of beer, and they will continue to drink right after they leave their appointment. He said 90% of the patients that I have that have liver disease continue to drink. They don't stop. And this is coming from a doctor, and I don't go to a GI here in my town. I go to a GI in a rather large city. It's actually, I think, the second largest city in Georgia. And that office that I go to, I don't know how many doctors in that office, but it is a office. It's not just one doctor. I think there's probably 6 doctors in that office. It's a very, very big office. It's not a small place at all. And every time I go there, the place is slam-packed full of patients. Now, I'm not saying that everybody that's in there is there for liver problems. It's a GI doctor. So these people can have all kinds of issues. But they see a lot of people with these kinds of problems. And where I live at as well, the doctor's office where I go to is right by a military base. So there are a lot of people that live there. And for him to tell me that there are that many people that come in there with liver problems and continue to drink means that's a lot of people. And this doctor actually, too, is ex-military as well. And the guy, I just don't see him telling me something like that, just because. I believe my doctor. He's a very nice guy. He's honest with me. He's always been up front. And I just don't see him telling me something that's just a made-up lie. And, just to respond to the people that said that, how could somebody with liver disease go and drink? Well, they do. And they continue to. Not everybody that gets a diagnosis with liver disease says, okay, now's the day I'm going to stop. There's a lot of people that just can't, and they continue to drink and continue to cause problems in their bodies. So I just wanted to address that. on the video and just let you know that there are a lot of people that have liver disease and continue to still drink. And this is coming from my doctor. And I've also spoke with other doctors as well. My liver specialist in Charleston has told me something similar to that before, because he wanted me to get involved in AA. And, he basically told me the same thing, that a lot of patients that he sees, they still continue to drink, or they stop drinking, they get better, and then after some time, he told me verbatim, he said, I don't want you to end up at a wedding or something like that after 2 years you've been sober, and the next thing you know, you go to drink again. He said, because I see that a lot. So anyway, I just wanted to address that really quick. That just because somebody has a liver disease diagnosis, doesn't mean that they just automatically just stop and quit. It just doesn't happen every time. So anyway, I've had a really, like I said, busy couple of days. Just today, I ran out to go do some errands real quick, and then I'm driving down the road, and I hate to bore you guys with my stories, but I mean, this is, my life I'm talking about, and, different subjects, and just wanted to throw this in there for today. It's another story about another dog. I was driving down the road, and I see this pug running on the side of the road. And like I said, I live out in a rural area. There weren't any houses around where I saw the dog, so I pulled over, and I wanted to see if the dog had a tag on the collar with a number that I could call. So I pull over on the side of the road. The dog disappeared. I didn't see it again, so I thought, okay, the dog must have went into the woods or something. So I got to pull off again. Next thing you know, I look in my rearview mirror, and the dog's following me. It's running behind me. So I pulled back over on the side of the road again and called for the dog to come over. I just said, come here, and the dog actually came to me, and I put the dog in my van, and I looked on the tag. It did have a phone number. I called the phone number, and nobody answered. So I called my wife, and I said, I've got this dog. It's a pug, and I don't know what to do. I guess I'm going to have to bring it to the house. I can't just leave it here. And she said, okay. So as I'm driving down the road, I'm almost at my house again. I called the number again, because when I originally called, it went to voicemail, and it said the voicemail was full. So anyway, I'm almost back at my house again. I decided, let me try calling again. So I call again, and now a lady answers, and she tells me it's her dog. And I told her where I found it at. She told me they lived like a mile down the road from where I found the dog. And I said, okay. I said, well, I've got the dog here. It's in my van. I'm pulling up at my house right now. I said, so what do you want to do? And she said, I'm at work. I'm going to have my husband give you a call. So she says, give me just a minute. I'm going to give him your number and have him call you. So a couple minutes later, her husband calls me, and I answer the phone, and I said, yeah, I'm here at the house, and I tell him where I live, and he comes, and the guy was really rude with me, and I'm thinking to myself, I just pulled over, picked your dog up to keep it from getting hit, and like, why are you getting like this? I mean, I guess he was irritated that I had taken the dog and brought it to my house, and now he's got to get up and come over here and get it. So anyway, I've been waiting this afternoon for this guy to show up. He said he was going to be here in like 10 minutes, and it took him like 2 hours to get here. He finally shows up, was not nice, didn't say thank you. And I dealt with that, gave him his dog back, and the guy left. And that's one of the reasons why today I'm getting this video done so late. I wanted to have this video done earlier today, but I've been dealing with that and waiting on this guy to show up, and just sitting here waiting, and he finally showed up. So anyway, so I wanted to talk about today as well. I want to start doing some interviews with some of you guys. Instead of me just talking into a camera every single day, I thought it'd be really interesting to start doing some interviews with some of you. If any of you guys are interested in that, please let me know in the comments. Let me know if you're interested, or you can either message me on Instagram or message me on Facebook. What I plan on doing is taking the names down of everybody that says that they're interested, putting them all and writing them down, and just put them on a piece of paper, putting them in my hat, and drawing from the hat for the first interview. So if you guys are interested in that, please let me know in the comments, or like I said, message me on Facebook or Instagram. I will take your name down, And we'll work out all the details later on. And what I'll do, like I said, I will actually draw the name out on the hat on video and let you know who it is. And then whoever that is, if you could please contact me, we'll go from there, and then I'll figure out all the contact information and everything like that, and we'll go and work it out and go through Zoom probably to do that interview and record it, and then we'll post it up. So if any of you guys are interested in that, please let me know. I would greatly appreciate it. I think it'd be really neat to hear some other stories and get another perspective other than my own. So I'll be waiting to hear back from you guys. And like I said, I'll probably do the name drawing on either Monday or Tuesday. And like I said, I'll do it on camera so you guys can see who that is. And I'll just call out the name, and then you can contact me. Don't forget about the live video that's going to be coming up tomorrow at 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. I would love to see everybody there. I know everybody can't make it, but whoever can, it'd be awesome. It's a open questionnaire. You guys can ask me anything you'd like. I'm open to anything. Just hop on there, and we'll just start it up. And just like last time, I just got a bunch of questions and I answered them on video, and we'll just go from there. So it's basically just a open free chat where you guys can just ask me whatever you'd like, and we'll just kind of wing it and just go from there with it. So really looking forward to that with you guys. The last one was really neat, and like I said, that's tomorrow at 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. So today I wanted to talk about blacking out. And if you are somebody, or you know somebody that is an alcoholic and drinks to the excess that I used to, then you blacked out all the time. And that is one of the worst parts of drinking, I have to say, for my own self, because it is one of the most confusing and scariest things about drinking. Especially if you end up somewhere, you're out on the town or whatever you're doing, and you black out because you can't remember anything. And that happened to me so many times. I would black out almost every single night. And it would get to that point where, the drinking, I would have my first couple drinks, and then it would get to the point to where I would start getting, pretty wasted. And I really don't remember exactly at that level where it would hit to where you would black out, but it happened to me very, very often. And I would say more often than not. There were so many nights that I would black out, and I'd wake up the next morning, and I'd walk into the kitchen, and my wife would be in there, and she's in there getting our kids lunch together or something that morning, and I'd go up to give her a hug or a kiss, and she would push me away, and I would have no idea what had happened. And then I'd have to hear about something I said the night before or something I did. And that was probably one of the worst parts about it. And, I just didn't know what had happened. Just tell you a quick story. So there was one night I had gone out. Like I said, I was in the restaurant industry my whole life. And one night I had worked a really, really, really busy night. I think it was like a Friday or Saturday night. And we closed really late. It was like 2 o'clock in the morning when we closed the restaurant down. So we ended up closing down. It took us about an hour to shut the whole place down. So we're getting off about 3. And I ended up going over to one of my employees was basically having to get together at their house. And I went over there and started drinking with them. And it ended up getting to about 5 or so in the morning. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to go home. And I do remember being there and being really drunk and saying I need to leave. Well, I ended up calling a cab, and the cab came, and this is before I lived where I'm at now. I was a little bit closer to town this time, and actually I lived in the city limits at this point in time. So I called the cab. They came and got me, and the guy says, where do I go? And I told him, just go straight down this road. Well, I fall asleep in the back of the cab and just totally black out. And I guess about 30 minutes later, the guy wakes me up and says, hey, where am I supposed to go from here? He had driven so far out in the middle of nowhere, and when he woke me up, I was so confused. I didn't even know where we were. I had to figure it out, and then I had to tell him to turn around to drive me back home. So I'm telling him the directions to get there, and the next thing you know, I pull up, we get to my house, and I don't remember what time it was. It's like 6:30 in the morning or something, and I tell the guy, I'm like, okay, here, he says, okay, it's gonna be this much money. I think it was like $60 or something. It might have been more than that, but I went to hand him my debit card, and the guy goes, man, this is only cash. So then the guy had to drive me to a gas station to go to the ATM to get his money so I could pay him. And, you know, that's just one of those stupid things, which added more to the cab ride, because he had to drive me back to an ATM machine, which just added more money to that. And it's just one of those stupid things that happens when you're drinking. Just, you know, another thing that used to happen to me all the time too, we would go, let's say I would go to my parents' house, or like a family member, like my brother's house or something like that, and we would get to drinking really heavy, and my wife would drive, of course, after we were done. There were so many nights that I would wake up and I was still in the car, and I wouldn't know where I was. I was so confused because my wife tried to wake me up. I'd fallen asleep on the way home, and she would just have to leave me in the car, and I'd wake up in there. You know, and that's just the one of the worst parts about drinking like that is, you know, you never know what you might have done. And, you know, like I said in the video yesterday, you know, you completely lose your inhibitions when you're drinking. And to be in that mind state and then wake up the next morning knowing that you were in that mind state and that you can't remember what happened is very, very frightening, because you just don't know what you did. There were so many times that I would go out and you know, go downtown to one of the bars or something like that and start drinking, and then, you know, one thing would lead to another, and then I would end up somewhere and I would wake up and I wouldn't know where I am. I didn't know where my car was. The first thing I did was panic, and you know, for any of you out there that have experienced this, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But that panicked feeling that you have, where's my wallet? Where's my phone? Where are my keys? And you're trying to gather all these things. And that is like the worst feeling in the world, especially if you can't find your keys and you don't know where your wallet is and you can't find your phone and you're in an odd place and there's like people sleeping on couches and you're on the floor and you have no idea what just happened. And I know there are so many of us that have experienced that, and you know, that's just another reason why not to drink, because so many bad things could happen. You know, just for instance, you know, you go out, you get to drinking really heavy, and then you're completely blackout drunk, and then, you know, something happens where somebody bumps into you or something like that. I mean, you could potentially get into a fight and not remember it. You could do something illegal and not remember it. And these days, with the amount of video surveillance, I mean, every business, I mean, almost every single home has, you know, video cameras in front of them. And you know what it's like when you're drunk and you'll just do stupid stuff like, you know, smack a sign on the, you know, in front of a business, or just do dumb things that, you know, that before, you know, before all this video surveillance probably would have gotten away with it. But these days, you know, they could see exactly what happens at all times. Or you're driving your car and you crash into somebody's car and then, you know, wake up the next morning and don't remember it. I remember this one time, one of my sous chefs that used to work for me back in the day, this is, I don't know, probably about 5 or 6 years ago, he had just bought a brand new Honda Pilot, I think is what it was. And he had gone out. We had worked late the night before. He had just bought the car the day before, and he came in that night and he's showing off his car to all the employees, and we're like, wow, that's really nice, you know, and everything. And then he was a really big drinker as well, and he drank vodka like I did. We were like, team vodka together, and that was just not a good pairing with both of us working in the same establishment, because two of us drank. But anyway, that's another story. So he, like I said, we worked late that night. Next thing you know, he takes off that day, and that night he gets off, and the next day I get a text message from him. He's like, "Hey, I'm running late. I'll be there in a few." And I'm like, "Okay, whatever." He shows up to work, and he just looks horrible. His hair's all messed up. You can tell that he hadn't showered. He probably slept in the clothes that he had on the night before. And I'm talking with him. I'm like, "Man, what happened to you last night?" He's like, "I don't know. All I remember was being at this bar downtown, and it wasn't in the town we lived. It was in another city." And he said, "I went to the bar, and I don't remember anything after that." And we're standing outside. We're all standing out there smoking cigarettes and just chatting with each other. It was right there and right before dinner service, so we had a couple minutes to burn. And I looked at his car and I said, "Hey man, what happened to your car?" And he's like, "What are you talking about?" And we look, and the front of the car is all dented in. One of the headlights is busted. There's a huge scratch going all the way down the side of the car. The back of the car is completely bashed in. I mean bashed in, like he smacked into something really, really hard and big. The whole trunk on the car was completely pushed in. I mean, he had done thousands of dollars worth of damage to his vehicle, and he had no recollection of what had happened to him at all. None. What if he had hit somebody? What if he had hurt someone and he didn't remember it? Another quick little story here, and then I'm gonna get off of here. But there was this is a really sad one. There in the town that I live in, there was a young lady. She's my age. At the time, she was a younger lady. Very well-to-do. Had her stuff together. Went to school. Not gonna say what she did, but she was making rather good money. Had herself together. Went out one night downtown. Got drunk. On her way home, she ran into what she thought was a mailbox, or so she says. Well, she went home. Next day, they find a gentleman on the side of the road, and he's no longer alive. He was gone. And they found some parts of her car that were on the side of the road. She had no recollection of what had happened, or so she claims that she didn't, and I think she probably didn't. But on the side of the road were some pieces of her car, and they were able to trace that back to her vehicle, and she had to go to jail for manslaughter. She had hit somebody on the side of the road and just left them there. Completely intoxicated, had no idea what was going on, and just went ahead and rode to the house. Her life was ruined after that. Completely ruined. So just take that in for a second and think about that, and how impactful it could be. That one mistake that you could make one night, being blackout drunk. It's really hard to think about, but it's true, and it happens to a lot of us. We go out, we drink, we get blackout, and then we do stupid things. And those stupid things that we do could actually cause somebody to lose their life. And that's really scary to think about. Your life could change in an instant. It could be over one night going out on the town. And that's just really scary. When you're blackout drunk, you don't know what's going on. People used to tell me back in the day that I had the crazy eyes when I would get blackout drunk. I still don't know what that looks like. I have no idea what that is. I have some sort of an idea because I told you guys the other day that I watched a video of myself where I was really intoxicated and I really looked crazy. But I still don't know exactly what they're talking about. But I used to get like that all the time. And it's still, when I think about all the things that could have gone wrong when I was out running around drinking like that, it really scares me. Because I really could have made a major mistake and done something really, really, really dumb, and potentially could have taken somebody's life in the process. Just going out and getting smashed drunk isn't always just an innocent thing, and it can affect other people. I've heard so many stories of people blacking out and turn on the oven and putting a pizza in there and falling asleep, and then they're next thing you know, their roommates wake up and there's smoke pouring out of the oven, and they almost burnt the house down. Or people putting a pot of ramen noodles on the stove and start cooking it and go to sit down for a minute. Next thing you know, they pass out and their kitchen catches on fire. Things like this happen all the time, and it's associated with drinking or doing drugs. But drinking really will just, if you get to that level, you don't know what's going on. There's so many nights that I passed out and had no idea. I mean, I've done that before. I've went into the kitchen and started cooking something for dinner and decided to sit down for a second, and the next thing you know, I fell asleep. And I wake up and there's smoke in the house, or just so many things have happened to me, and I just can't even go into all the details of all the stupid things I've done, leaving candles burning, falling asleep. I never smoked in my house, but there's so many people that do, and they're sitting there on the couch smoking a cigarette, and the next thing you know, they fall asleep and that cigarette falls out of their hand and lights the couch on fire. These things happen all the time. So that's just what I wanted to talk about today, is just think about the fact that sometimes our consumption doesn't just affect us, and it could potentially affect other people's lives in a very detrimental way. So just take that for instance, and just roll that around your head for a minute, that it could potentially really, really, really be very, very bad in the end, and you just don't want that to happen. And just another reason why quitting alcohol and staying away from it, refraining, if you are one of the people that has quit and you still are juggling around, maybe I can go back to it. Just think about that. Why put yourself back in that situation again? It just doesn't make any sense. I wouldn't do it. And if you're thinking about quitting, like I said, make sure that you speak with a doctor first. But that's just another reason why, just to leave it alone. Just leave it alone. I do want to comment one more thing before I get off of here. I get a lot of people asking me, how I feel about replacing alcohol with other things. I'm not going to get into that with anybody on here. I'm not. I don't have a problem with what anybody else does in their life. And, I'm not going to judge anybody for anything they do. I get a lot of questions. People ask me, how do you feel about replacing alcohol with marijuana and things like that? And if that's what you do, that's your business. But I'm not anybody to sit here and say that's okay or it's not. And I get a lot of people that ask me my opinion on that. I'm just not going to give my opinion on it, because I don't want to steer anybody in any direction. I'm not a doctor. I don't know enough to even answer those types of questions. All I can tell you is from my experiences and things that have happened to me, and I really would prefer not to give my opinions on those types of things, because I don't want to lead anybody down any roads, and I don't want to create any more problems for anybody. And I'm just, that's just one of those things I'm just going to stay away from. First of all, I don't know enough to answer that question. And second of all, I'm just not going to lead anybody down a path that I don't want anybody going down. I know there's a lot of things that people can take. There's different kinds of pharmaceuticals people can take, and you can go to your doctor and ask for those, and all that stuff. That's neither here nor there. That's between you and your doctor. But there, I get a lot of questions about stuff like kratom and marijuana and Valium or whatever it is, and I just don't know enough to answer those questions. And I'm not gonna say something yay or nay, and the next thing you know, somebody goes off and does something else, and then it ends up being something bad for them. So whatever you do is totally fine. I mean, it's your business. I don't want to give my opinion on it, and that's the only thing. I just would rather not. So if you do ask me that question, I'm gonna stay away from it. And I'm not trying to be rude. I just would rather not answer that question. I mean, I just don't. Like I said, I don't know enough to be able to answer that question for you. That's something that I would talk with your doctor about. So, with that said, guys, everybody have a great day today. I really appreciate everybody watching this video. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. We are almost at 2,000 subscribers right now, and man, this channel's growing so big. This is so awesome. Don't forget about that live video tomorrow, guys. That'll be at 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And please don't get offended by what I just said about people asking me that question. I'm not trying to offend anybody. If anything, I just would rather just not say. Like I said, I'm not trying to offend anybody in any means. What you do is your business. I'm not judging anybody by what they have asked me or what they might do in their free time. It's completely up to you. But like I said, I can't answer those questions. I really don't know enough about it. I don't know what the effects of some of these other substances could have on your body, especially somebody that's got liver disease. I just don't know. I asked a question one time. I was talking about CBD, and I got a lot of people that told me that it was really hard on your liver. I had no idea that it was hard on your liver. And I don't take CBD. I've taken it before. I didn't like it. It didn't do anything for me. That stuff is really expensive, and it just didn't do anything for me at all. So I just don't want to ingest something else and put more harm on my liver, more work on my liver with something else that, it doesn't make any sense for me to do that stuff. But, like I said, whatever you do in your time, with your body, that's totally up to you. I have no judgment. I just don't want to steer anybody down the wrong path. And that's the only reason I just really stay away from those questions. So, anyway, guys, until tomorrow, I'd love to see you guys in the live. If not, it's going to be recorded, so you can go back and watch it later on. And with that said, guys, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. I love you all so much. Thank you so much for watching this video. You guys are so awesome. And I'm going to get to those comments, I promise. I'm going to go inside, post this video, and then I'll start replying to those comments. And then, like I said, my in-laws are in town right now. And I've got dinner to cook tonight, and they asked if we wanted to go out to eat, and I said no, I'd rather cook at home. I just know that it's going to be, I'm not going to be disappointed with the food I cook, and we don't have to sit on a wait at a restaurant and all that kind of stuff. It's Saturday night, and I just rather not. I want to just stay home, so I've got to cook dinner tonight and all that good stuff. So if you guys do send a bunch of comments in here, I'll get to them. If I don't get right back to you, I'm sorry. I'm just in the process of, basically entertaining my in-laws this afternoon and this evening. So that's what I'm up to. But anyway, guys, see you guys tomorrow. Love you so much. Bye-bye.